One of our favorite stories this year gives a nod to a New Hope resident who received quite the honor. The National Weather Service presented Steve Reckers with the Benjamin Franklin Award for 55 years of volunteer service. As Corey Bork reports, his passion for weather developed at a young age.
It's not work for me because I really enjoy doing it.
Take a walk with Steve Reckers through his yard, and you can instantly sense his passion.
This is the one they put in '67.
That backyard weather station he obtained back when he was in his 20s.
There's free flow of air through it, and that's what they always used to use back before a lot of this automated equipment.
It allows him to record many measurements that he relays back to the National Weather Service as a volunteer weather observer.
At night I take the maximum, the minimum, the current temperature, any precipitation, any snowfall, the soil temperature.
Measurements he takes at 10:30 every night.
How you reset this is you spin it, and that forces that mercury back through this constriction.
Reckers says his love of weather began at a young age.
Since I was 4 or 5 years old, hoping for snow at this time of year.
His favorite childhood gift? An indoor-outdoor thermometer.
Greatest gift I ever had. Bike might be next and baseball glove after that.
His lifelong passion that resulted in the National Weather Service's Benjamin Franklin Award for 55 years of service.
Yeah, it felt good.
Just don't ask his family to follow suit.
I've been working on my grandkids, but none of them are terribly interested in it.
As it turns out, the 55th year was memorable in more ways than one.
Going back to last November, December, and then through the winter, I had 94 inches of snow, the most ever in this location, at least going back to 56 when records started here.
That followed by drought, then lots of rain. 2023 turned into a weather year for the ages.
Go figure. I mean, it's just an incredible year, and warm.
2024, he doesn't expect to be quite as crazy.
Last year was gangbusters. My back doesn't want to see that again this year.
In New Hope, Corey Bork.
Yeah, that was some year.
CCX News.
We asked Steve whether he ever wanted to be a meteorologist for a living. He says he considered it, but worked as a city planning consultant, a job he also enjoyed. Passion for the outdoors is also seen in Robbinsdale. Emily Haugen introduces us to a Robbinsdale woman who is creating beauty with her garden, both inside and out.
I think it helps it grow.
There is beauty in what is small.
What's that?
And Rebecca Korch's garden
Little critter.
is no exception.
It's my sanctuary during my summers as a teacher.
She helps living things bloom outside the classroom.
I love watching the growth and the change and just nurturing things and see how they respond.
With the help of her daughter, Cornelia.
I know this one.
Enough space to put them in there.
She loves the butterflies.
We have lots of different colors.
Amidst the beauty is charity.
They're just about to start popping, so we'll have a bunch of them. COVID really did a number on the outdoor garden life, so we had some extra time. It just seemed intuitive, like common sense. If I have extra vegetables that we're not going to eat, just to, give them to the neighbors.
Beyond the garden gate.
Like, it's just so close-knit, and it feels, really like we have each other's backs, like a small town.
There is person who lives down there. They have 2 dogs. They mostly come by and get some veggies.
You can just eat them?
Yeah.
In their front yard, free produce.
Look at our mess now.
On a little red stool.
They'll text me a picture of what they made, thanks for the zucchini.
Growing a surplus of kindness.
It just seems like what I should do.
In Robbinsdale.
Who doesn't like cucumbers?
Me.
Emily Haugen, CCX News.
Winter can be a perfect time for bird watching. The activity rose in popularity during the pandemic, and as I found out in Plymouth, one local man says it not only helped him explore nature, but it also improved his mental health. In the heart of Plymouth,
there's tons of different local parks, but this is one that I've been gravitated towards.
Parker's Lake Park serves as a go-to spot for anyone who wants to get outside, even in the middle of winter. But there's something else that draws Dan DeBon here.
There's a great wooded region around this corner where you get all sorts of woodpeckers. Downy woodpeckers, hairy woodpeckers, red-bellied woodpeckers are all that I've just seen in my passing through here.
You see, DeBon isn't so much a woodpecker enthusiast, but a bird enthusiast. He runs his own blog called Bird Bites, which comes with a variety of photos and the occasional video that showcases the different avian varieties he comes across. It's a hobby he picked up in 2020.
I've always found birds to be mildly interesting in the back of my head. It's something that my dad was really into, but I didn't really quite appreciate it or get into it until COVID, when I was looking for an outlet to appreciate the outdoors.
Bird watching connected him to nature, but DuBon soon found other benefits to the hobby.
As somebody who's a more anxious person, I just noticed firsthand that it was really, especially during a difficult time, that my anxiety was reduced. And I soon found, just through scientific studies out there, that there's actually a lot to that.
He says that simply looking at or listening to birds can help benefit your mental health. And one surefire way to encounter them is to set up a bird feeder in your yard.
If people want to get started with bird feeding, I'd recommend that they start with what we'd call a hopper feeder. Basically anything that has a roof on it like this.
There's also tray feeders you can set on the ground or hang off your balcony, and one specifically designed to keep the squirrels away.
There's dozens of different types on the market, but they're going to have the same concept where if a squirrel lands on something like this, it's weight sensitive and it's going to close, they can't get in there, but a bird is going to be totally fine.
It's a hobby that doesn't cost a lot of money and makes your outdoor strolls a little more interesting.
Bird feeding and bird watching is kind of like Pokemon in real life, because there's hundreds of species, and it's kind of a way to tap into that way of just keeping track of different things in the wild, and I think that's pretty cool.
In Plymouth, Delane Cleveland, CCX News.
We'll start our CCX all-area offense in the backfield. Number 21, Charles Langama, burst on the scene as a first-year starter at running back for Maple Grove. The junior rushed for 1,425 yards and 21 touchdowns, with another 5 receiving TDs before being injured. Langama averaged 9 yards per carry and was an all-Metro pick. Number 1, Kevon Johnson, was a game-breaker as a junior for Armstrong. He rushed for 1,562 yards and 16 touchdowns, helping the Falcons to their second consecutive trip to state. Johnson was Falcons' Offensive Player of the Year. Number 4, Justin Kuharski of Totino Grace helped his team reach the state playoffs in Class 4A. Senior Kuharski ran for 1,016 yards and 15 touchdowns, averaging just under 8 yards per carry. Rounding out the running backs, number 1, Arthur Russell of Champlain Park. The senior rushed for 697 yards and had 7 total touchdowns. Russell was Special Teams MVP in the Metro North Subdistrict. Our quarterbacks are led by number 2, Nirvan Yoga Raja of Benilde St. Margaret's. Yoga Raja led the Red Knights to the State 4A playoffs, throwing for 3,297 yards and 28 TDs. He was Skyway Yellow Subdistrict Quarterback of the Year and Red Knights Team MVP. Cooper's number 12, Cameron Fox, made huge strides as a senior. Fox passed for 1,809 yards and 14 TDs, helping the Hawks to a 7-win season. He was Hawks Offensive MVP and North Star East Gold Offensive MVP. Our wide receivers include number 13, junior Khalif Brown of Benilde St. Margaret's. Brown had 70 catches for 1,047 yards and 8 TDs, and was Skyway Yellow Receiver of the Year. Wayzata's number 1, Tony Lay, makes our squad after a strong junior season. Lay had 33 receptions for 594 yards and 4 TDs, helping the Trojans stretch the field. Number 1, Dylan Vocal, was an all-purpose threat as a junior for Maple Grove. Vocal had 27 catches for 470 yards and also rushed for 397 yards while excelling on defense, too. Number 1, Tyjon Brooks of Park Center, was dangerous as a receiver and return man. Brooks had 36 catches for 700 yards and 6 touchdowns and over 1,000 all-purpose yards. He was North Star Maroon West Special Teams Player of the Year. Number 12, Max Clausen of Providence Academy, is a good target at 6'4", 205. He led the Lions in receptions, yards, and TDs, catching 40 passes for 575 yards with 7 touchdowns. Rounding out the receivers is number 2, Gideon Brecker of Armstrong. The junior had 39 catches for 700 yards with 10 touchdowns, while also excelling as a defensive back and punter. Our tight end is number 8, Nathan Ramatka of Maple Grove. The 6'6" junior is a great blocker on the edge and had 3 touchdown catches this season for the Crimson and is getting a lot of recruiting attention. Up front on the offensive line, number 72 guard Manny Wilson of Wayzata capped a strong career for the Trojans. The 6'5", 265-pounder was a 3-year starter and is an all-star game selection. Number 55 Luke Pappas of Armstrong is one of the Falcons' best linemen in the last decade. The 6'4", 260-pound junior guard was Offensive Lineman of the Year in the North Star East Maroon. Number 60 center Ryan Bale was great in his first season on the O-line for Maple Grove. The 6', 225-pound senior is called the best pulling center he's had by his head coach. Number 74 Peter Okafor of Park Center is another good junior. The 6'2", 300-pound tackle didn't allow a sack this season and is a rising star for the Pirates. Number 70 Jeremiah Hoskins of Cooper is a big junior tackle at 6'5", 340. He was North Star East Gold Offensive Lineman of the Year. A good group, the CCX All-Area Offense.
Arnie will throw, gets the completion, Wangama, touchdown.
These guys also had good seasons. The honorable mention selections for offense. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.